What's poppin', what's cracking, what's going on, what's up? I wanted to really quickly talk about two things. The Mr. Beast little drama and the atrioc, how do you say his name, drama. Just want to just quickly brush through it. Nobody cares about my opinion, but you're over clicking on the video, so now you have to hear it anyway. Anyway, for the Mr. Beast thing, anybody that's complaining that Mr. Beast is using what's the, I don't know what the term is, but using the things that are supposed to be helping people as just a tool or a weapon to weaponizing the capitalism effectively. I feel like you're kind of being extra. You're being over the top. You're so obsessed with the ideal of hatred and hating capitalism. You've missed the point. Look, simple opinion. We live in a society with a set of rules and structures that we should try and change. Some people abuse them for no reason. Some people abuse them and at the same time can help people. So most of us viewers, me watching this, recording this, in some way I'm taking advantage of a system that is hurting me, you, even poor people in other countries. We're hurting people almost all of the time by every action we take. And I bought Starbucks today. See this right here? This is money that could have been donated to some sort of charity. I could have bought a sandwich, had it to a homeless person. A lot of ways I could have helped someone, and I didn't. Mr. Beast uses the fact that people are going to click on his videos, and he can use that to sometimes help people. That's a good thing. Almost everybody else on YouTube uses that, the same money they would make, they just take it and they invest it and use it themselves. That's a good thing. He did a good thing inside of a bad system. That's the whole take. That's it. If you have any other take than that, I mean, I get it. I get that you have another, or you probably have, you're probably working too much more into it than needs to be done. The person who calls him an antichrist, I don't care about. You're not a real person to be taking serious. If you have real complaints with Mr. Beast's person, fair. I get it. But specifically when people, when businesses take money, it's specifically because they're trying to make a profit. But sometimes with that profit money, they help people. It's still good that they help people, even if they could have helped more people, right? It's not bad that it became a show, because in Mr. Beast's case, had he not been doing things like this, like making a show out of stuff, he'd make less money to help with things like this, right? Charities are more likely to want to work with him. Businesses are more likely to give money because, this makes us look good to work with this guy. Yes, it's capitalism. Yes, you hate capitalism. I get it. But at least it's being used to help somebody. All right, the atrioc thing. Wow, bro. I believe Maya made a tweet. I'm not saying why I believe, I saw the tweet, saying all these are the only debates that are happening are between men, talking about the ethics or morality of this. And I think it's pretty. I'm pretty sure it's there's nothing to debate. I don't know if she's saying that this is equivalent to SA or the R word. If she's saying that's not up for debate, that's a different say. I mean, not from my perspective, just from the perspective of other people that have been assaulted. I think even she may think that this is the same thing as when she was assaulted. Other people who have been assaulted don't seem to think it's the same thing. What is the case? I'm not gonna, what is the case? It is an unconsensual sexualization of a person. There was a streamer who said at one point, you can imagine whatever you want in your own head, but as soon as you act on it in any way in the world, in any single way, then it becomes somebody else's problem. It doesn't matter if it isn't their real body that it's being used. Once your AI to create it and whatnot, that's still their face and their person. Would it have been worse if they stole nudes from them? Yes. But it isn't not bad as a result of it not being their actual body or person. In fact, I mean, I don't know what the legal precedent for it is, but I know like this has been the type of thing that, you know, celebrities have been upset about for a while with, you know, there's a bunch of different like pornographic material that they take a celebrity's face and they poorly Photoshop it onto somebody or whatnot. Like, it's, for one, let's just talk about the morality of like a person. Like, I feel like the thing is, dudes have a problem with this because they don't, like, see, like, most dudes never are, like, most average dudes, right? At average to less, are never sexualized, like, pretty much at all. Let's just be honest. Like, they're not, no one cares about you sexually in any way. So you don't even know what it's like to, like, to have to contend with the idea of people, like, people just being a creep to you. Like, you don't know what it's like for someone to be a creep to you. Like, let's just be 100% honest. And you've kind of devalued the idea of it. Like, there's a whole lot of psychological baggage that happens when people aren't viewing you as a person, they view you as a sexual object. I'm trying to find a way to talk about this, to talk to anybody who disagrees that it's a bad thing, probably is not going to like any of the language that I'm using. But everybody who already agrees, like, I don't need to explain it to everybody that already gets why it's fucked up. I'm trying to find a way to, like, I mean, here's a kind of homophobic way of looking at it. When I'm dealing with, like, especially in the black community where people are pretty homophobic, which as a conversation for another time, often when I'm talking to just friends of mine or associates of mine, trying to get them to see a way to, like, here's how what you're doing and thinking and saying is creepy. Let's be like, okay, so imagine someone did this to you. They'll be like, I don't care. I'm like, no, wait. Imagine some dude did this to you. Sometimes I'd be like, imagine I did this to you, like to a role model or whatnot. If the exact same things you were saying and thinking about someone, imagine I did that to you. Like, they're visibly uncomfortable. And the only like, they're trying to come up with a logical thing is like, oh, well, you don't know. They'd say no one would do it at first. Or say like, oh, that's gross. Well, why would you even want to do that? Like, it seems, it's almost weird to try and come up with, like, the reason or the logic behind it, because, like, I think everybody pretty inherently knows that it's kind of a fucked up thing. Like, if it's so much weirder into, like, unless you have somebody, if you're someone who thinks that you're always okay with people sexualizing you because it's never going to happen to you, for one, or you don't understand what it's like to have something unconsensual happening to you, like, you're always going to be in a bad place. With atrioc, it's another layer of weirdness, because they're associates, right? Like, often this type of thing has probably happened very frequently with celebrities and normal people, and it's still weird when you do that with celebrities too, right? Like, I don't think many dudes at least would even really consider the weirdness or uncomfortableness of it. Like, you know, just because you're famous doesn't mean you've agreed to be the sexual object for someone. But, you know, in someone's own mind, what can you do about that? But, I mean, so you all here, imagine, all you all who disagree, imagine a friend of yours who you are not attracted to in any way, did this. Imagine a coworker or a supervisor or a manager did this to you. Just how would you feel? Like, let's not even leave out on the empathy, but, like, how would you feel if somebody was using that content to you the whole time? It would change. You certainly wouldn't interact with them the same way anymore. It would certainly change the way you view them. It doesn't seem like there's enough words for it. There's probably is. I think there's too many words, but it seems too simply to be the point. Like, it's messed up. So now that I'm done with all of that, it's just the take that men can't have a say with a thing. I do think it's always a little strange. Now that we're 9 minutes in, and, you know, anybody who's unwilling to listen is probably left by now. Like, for one, I have been sexualized in ways that I don't consent to. I haven't been assaulted. Let's just stop there. But in ways that I don't consent to, pretty much since maybe like my junior year of high school. Ever since I got tall and in decent shape, that pretty much started happening. And I've kind of, like, the ways, I don't know if that it's that I don't care when it happens to me, or that I'm supposed to not care. So like I have to not care. Like no one gives a shit in any way when I'm sexually objectified. I mean, even just like I remember I was going on a run somewhere, and then a classmate had saw me that hadn't seen me prior to getting in really good shape and, you know, getting abs and whatnot. And they just kind of just started touching my abs, just like running their hands up those. I'm like, and I didn't want them to do that, but it's such a weird social space that I'm like, now I'm more worried about I'm gonna look like I'm being a fucking bitch if someone tells me, like, hey, can you just stop touching me? And I'm like, why? And I'm like, what do you mean, why? Like, there should be, if I say don't touch me, don't touch me. There shouldn't be a why. I don't want you to do that. That's it. People just grab, they're only females. I haven't run into any dudes that have, like, grabbed my ass or some shit. But I've, like, had my butt, like, grabbed by people who are friends and stuff. And I don't like it. I don't like anything ever touching my butt at any point. I don't want my girlfriend touching my butt at any point. I don't want anyone ever touching my butt. But who'll do that? Like, it's like I'm supposed to not care. People who, it's always females who do this. People who would very easily sympathize with the fact that, like, I just wish men wouldn't do this anymore. But I'm like, why are y'all doing it to me? I'm one of the fucking allies, bro. I'm trying to convince men to stop being creepy. Creep on the creepy dudes. Don't do it to me. It's weird to be sympathetic to the issues, be told that my opinion doesn't matter, and then have, not all of it, but have some of the things happen to me too. I'm like, one of the things it is kind of I mean, there's probably very few men. Like, the thing is, here's the other thing. There's gonna be a lot of men who hear me say anything like the reason I don't complain about it, even when we call it complaining about it, it's gonna be like, oh, sucks to be you. Like, even I can't even find a way to complain correctly because it'll sound like oh, people find you attractive. Your life must be so hard. I'm like, yeah, but I don't find them attractive, and I don't want them to do these things to me. Like, it is a weird space, right? So at the very least, I can identify with someone who is being sexualized without their consent, even when nothing like physically is happening to you, or one of the more aggressive physical things, even if something is physically happening. It is to me as simple as just, consent. It's also, I know that's not how brains work, but I'm like, there's just so much porn that porn stars have mostly consented to, right? If you could, there's just regular Pornhub. There's art. People could just draw things, so you don't even have to. There doesn't even have to be a person behind it. There's the OnlyFans. You could be paying or contributing to it so that you feel like at least there's an equal share. There's a lot of ways that you cannot be agreed about it. But I know there's a part of a psychology that it makes it more like, horniness is a weird part of the brain what makes people do things that they probably, like, all of their the way that they think and all of the way that they behave, all of these things there's probably a list of rules that I'll just say at least most dudes behave and act on, but then horniness added to the mix, then it breaks all of that down. Like, whilst horny, like, you're not, the same person or whatnot. I think it explains why some parts of, like, people's like, but they were a good person. Why did they do this very creepy thing? I think good person is probably a little bit more of a range. Good person and person with self-restraint, right? Like, you can be a bad person that just wouldn't ever do anything sexual just because that's just not, like, you don't have the motivation to do so. And maybe, it's like, I mean, like, looking at an addiction is probably the easiest way to think about it, right? I don't know. So I think we're done there, but that's all. Those are my thoughts on both of those two things. My normal lineup is whatever, but leave a like, leave a subscribe. Bye.